Welcome everyone to a new episode of Educated Discussions. I'm with
Elmo at Felipe's house.
Yes. Elmo, I have a question for you.
Go.
Have you ever been so excited about a video game, right? And the hype builds, and then it comes out, and then you're just heavily disappointed?
You call me the negative one, so I've actually never been hyped about anything. But there are a few occasions I can actually sympathize with the way you feel if you were disappointed in something.
Okay. Not the answer I expected. So yes?
Yes.
Got you drinking that water again.
Splash.
Anyways, I myself have fallen victim to this trap with a little game called Haze.
Haze.
Correct. Have you heard of this game?
I remember seeing it at a store, and it was GameStop. Mm-hmm. There was a buy two get one free sale going on, and my dad was like, "You want to buy?" He was really like pushing me to buy something at that point. And
that's you don't get that from parents often.
No, I saw Haze, and I thought, man, I want to. It looks cool on the cover.
The cover, yeah. And
just something about it. I was just maybe I felt like guilty spending money or something. Mm-hmm. But it was that day I was like, no, I'm good. And my usually when you're given that opportunity, your brain goes off like a firework.
Yeah. Now
that could be.
I was like you
exciting.
when I was younger as well. My parents once I finally got the opportunity, hey, do you want to get something? Then I just felt guilty. I'm like, well, mm-hmm. I mean, you didn't get it to me before. Why not?
well, that's my only association with Haze.
That's it. Okay.
That's all. And I was following gaming at the time as well. I guess not closely enough.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you my story with Haze. I was a young lad, and I had just kind of started getting into the gaming space. Got my PS2, right? I hadn't gone to, at the time, the next gen consoles, which would of course be the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. So I still had my PS2, but I started reading articles. I was on Cheat Code Central, reading game updates. Is
that what GCC stood for? Okay.
Yes. There, and then I slowly started exploring the Game Informers and of course IGN. So I finally start hearing about these E3, right? I didn't watch it live because I didn't know anything about it.
Ed and Eddie.
That's not that one. Not that one. The Electronics Entertainment Expo, I think is what it stands for.
That's pretty good. I wouldn't have been able to rattle that off immediately like you just did.
So I saw all the trailers after the E3 from whatever year it was that I was watching it, probably 2005, 2006. And I see this game for Haze, right? And I see these two soldiers, and they're decked out in some cool armor, right? They got this bright yellow, and I hadn't really seen that yet. Okay? Two soldiers walking around, and then, oh, what's that? There's some guy sneaking around up in the buildings. What's going on? Who's the hero? Who's the villain? Because I'm used to seeing Master Chief in cool armor, and he was the hero. But it looks like these guys are the villains. What's going on? So I'm like, I'm intrigued. Right?
Was this live action?
The trailer that I'm talking about, if I'm not mistaken, was CG. I think there might have been some live action elements, though. Every time they showed a Haze trailer, there was always this guy's like, fight the good fight. And there was always live action footage of someone saying that.
Because you sent me a trailer.
Okay.
That had some live action in it.
Okay, was that the one with the terrible CG car driving by? Oh my god!
I always was trained to be a soldier.
Yeah, dude, that's the guy from Tokyo Drift.
I remember.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
But you believed it, right?
Good, okay, because that's.
I thought it was Luke because I heard the trailer. I watched it to prepare for this podcast because it's been a while, and I watched the trailer. And I'm like, my name's Shane Carpenter. And I was born in the year 2023 or something like that.
I remember when I was watching it. Sorry,
and then I was like, Lucas Black.
I was watching it and thinking this voice is dumb. But then I was like, well, it worked in Fast and Furious, and it kind of sounds like him, so maybe I shouldn't be judging it like so harshly.
Right.
But that's an accent people have, like whatever.
I did not like it in Fast and Furious. It just didn't fit the tone of the whole movie.
That's another
yeah, of course.
Episode.
So anyways, so there was that, and that was funny. But yeah, so I see this trailer, and I just get kind of hyped because like the graphics were really cool looking, and again, I just really like the look of and feel of everything. And then it's like, oh, like the perspective, like he cracks like the helmet, and then you like, the logo comes up and everything. So it was just a really interesting trailer. I'm like, oh, this game's kind of cool. And then at one point, I don't know if it was that trailer or sometime shortly after, they're like, hey, this game, PS3 exclusive. And I was like, exclusive? This was me learning about exclusives. So I'm like, so only I can play this? Huh. I hadn't gotten my PS3 yet, right? I eventually did the following year, but I was just very excited about this game. And one of the reasons I think I was super hyped about it was coming from being a huge Halo fan. At the time, I didn't have an Xbox. I could only play it at friends' house. So I really wanted my Halo, a Halo that I could play. And at that point, I only had the PS2. I didn't really associate the exclusivity. I just thought, oh, the Xbox is better, so it can only run it on the Xbox. That's what I thought about the PS2, about the games at the time. But I didn't realize you could choose to just keep it on your console, right? So I just wanted my own Halo, and I was really excited because this looked like it was going to be it. This was dubbed the Halo killer by many, many outlets at the time. And I believed it. I bought into that hype.
That hype will come up later.
Yes.
In one of my notes.
Okay. So you did a little research.
I did do some research.
Okay, cool. Good, because I don't know everything about this game. But anyways, so yeah, I'm getting really excited about playing this game. And, I finally got the PS. My parents got me one. I think I got it in like 2007, so about a year later for my birthday. And this game just keeps getting delayed. And I'm trying to tell my cousin, I'm trying to tell my friend Jeff.
I know that guy.
You know Jeff? Yeah, he was... I remember him being very skeptical on the game, and I was like showing him all the trailers. I'm like, yo, man, this is... Because he was super Xbox at the time. I'm like, this is what's up. And he's like, I don't know, but okay. I'll play it. And I was like really trying to force this game on people because I wanted everyone to have the same hype. Like, why is no one hyped about this? In the comments and stuff online, I'd see it. But yeah, man, I was just really, really excited. And it just kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. I think originally it was supposed to be a 2000.
It was announced in 2006 for summer 2007.
Okay. When did it ultimately come out?
May 2008.
Okay.
It suffered.
Gotcha. I think there was 2 delays.
There was a delay to winter, and then there was the delay where it eventually came out in May of 2008.
Yeah. Oh my god! And when you're a young kid like me, I think I was in 9th or 10th grade. I don't remember. Those 6 months, man, they felt like a couple years. Like I was so sad when they delayed that big delay. Like I heard the delay to winter. I'm like, okay, just a few months, and then it was now summer. I'm like. Oh.
You should have tweeted angry messages at the developers.
Yeah, I should have on that.
Don't do that.
Platform that didn't exist at the time.
Don't do that.
Anyways.
Twitter had to have, but anyway.
So anyways, dude, my hype is just building. Here it comes, right? And then IGN posts a little review. And I'm like, oh, I love IGN. These are the guys I trust implicitly. And I click 4.5. Bad. My heart shattered into 6 pieces. Not a million pieces. It was
should have been 4. 4 pieces.
Why is that?
Because it was a 4.
It's a 4.5 pieces. Yeah. Yo, let me tell you, I was so sad. And something I guess I did forget to mention. They released a demo a couple months prior. And I remember playing the demo and I was like, Now, when I look back at it, I was like trying to like lie to myself, like, "Yo, this is pretty good."
I mean, you have grown to be more critical in the past just because you have more experience. So I don't think it's fair to say you were like not a decently informed consumer at that point. I want to give you a little bit of credit.
No, I appreciate it, and I deserve all the credit that you give me.
They had a good marketing team.
They did. I mean, those trailers were great, and the idea behind it was really cool, which we can explain in a bit. But yeah, that was my story, man. I was just really, really excited about this game. I played the demo, kind of lying to myself. I played the 4-player co-op, which is actually still a cool feature, which not many games had at the time, especially for shooters. And I got everyone playing. And they played it once, and that's it.
They all bought it?
The demo.
Okay.
Yeah, the demo was online. You could actually connect with people and stuff. But yeah, man, just the graphics were a little... underwhelming, and then like how everyone was acting was a little ridiculous. They're all like man bros, like like the typical warhead guys, and yeah, dude,
Was Fast and Furious guy in the trailer?
He was.
No, what? I'm sorry. Was he in the game? Was that voice in the game as well?
Yeah, that's the main voice.
The more southern accent. Okay.
Yeah, dude. So that's my sad story of Haze. Educate me.
Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about Haze? What did it end up becoming? What is sell me on Haze? Pretend I'm someone that is just as hyped as you were.
So you want me to do the pitch I was doing to my friends at the time?
Yeah, I want to hear that pitch.
Okay. All right, man. So
in 30 words, I'm joking.
No, God. All right, man. So you see these guys in this cool armor? All right, they're taking this drug, right? And when they inject themselves,
the Haze.
I don't think.
Oh no, was it the nucleus? Something with a
nectar.
Nectar.
Yo, they inject themselves with this stuff called nectar, and when they do that, they become super powered. Their vision's enhanced, their reflexes are enhanced. They pretty much become like super soldiers, and for temporarily, right? But the cool part is you're one of these these are bad guys. You're one of these bad guys, but you start rejecting the serum, and then you start realizing that this nectar is messing with your mind, right? And then that fake wall that nectar is building is shattered during times, and then you can see what's actually going on around you. And it turns out, because when you're on this nectar, you think you're part of the good guys, but once this haze wears off, you start really seeing what's going on, and you're like, oh, I'm just murdering people. There's death everywhere, but everything looks all clean. But when that haze starts wearing thin and you start peeking through the glass, this is messed up. So then he becomes free and he switches sides. And now he's fighting against these guys. And now that he knows about the nectar and that they're not thinking right, he's got to take them down.
As someone, I don't want to spoil a game here, but I'm going to mention Dead Space here. That is a game that, again, without spoiling, several times I believe used the medium to full effect, to its best effect. As in, this is a video game. We're going to use what's unique about a video game to heighten the experience. And I will say, based on what you're telling me here, the idea that when you're on this nectar versus off of the nectar, and that changes your perception, is actually a pretty fascinating idea.
Correct.
That I would like to see show up somewhere else. I don't know.
Remake it. Come on, Blue Point.
They got. Regardless, they're not gonna remake Haze.
Hey man, one can dream.
It's a sequel, a prequel, Haze Zero. But you've in your hook or your pitch, as you called it, have already got me intrigued.
Okay.
So that was an effective pitch.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they pitched to me. That's why I was excited. So, imagine my surprise when I saw that 4.5.
So let me get a little bit of context here based on someone who is a disappointed patron of Haze. Because my first notes here are like, it's wartime, there's an overdose mechanic. Correct. You can overdose?
Yeah, well, that's when you inject yourself. You're always on the nectar, but you can do a crazier dose to
and that's up to
assist you in battle. If I'm not mistaken, correct. Yeah, it's like something you earn. Like you it's like a meter, and once you fill it up, you can do it. If I remember correctly, it's been a very long time.
Well, based on reviews I read, and I would love your perspective on this last one. The campaign was short.
That's what I heard too.
5 hours, maybe even less. The weapons were.
I didn't even know that.
I mean, a tight story can be good as well.
Right.
It can be supported by multiplayer, but especially in this era of time.
I bet you that was heavily scrutinized at the time.
Even now, like people are like, "Oh, this game's too short," and I'm like, "Listen, I played Assassin's Creed. Like they could do with some cutting." Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
another Ubisoft game.
I wish the audience could see my face. Dull weapons, as in the weapon you use at the beginning of the game is the same weapon you are likely using at the end. Poor AI.
That's what I heard too.
And lame multiplayer.
Okay, see, that's actually the opposite. I heard the multiplayer was surprisingly really, really good.
Well, I do know upon release, the co-op did not work. And it wasn't until a patch came out after the release date that it seemed to...
That's strange because the demo of the co-op works. So that's interesting that it came out that way. Unless... I don't know.
I can give you some context for why the demo and the game itself could have come out differently.
Hey, by the way, we are here having an educated discussion.
Do you have any idea when that demo came out? When did you play that demo? Like how?
It was a couple months before the game came out. It was that year.
It's probably good to mention for those unaware. I can't imagine you would have made it this far if you didn't know, but it's always good to educate ourselves and the listeners.
Sure.
Creating a demo is apparently a very difficult process.
Correct.
I know it can also work to the detriment of your game, like when we didn't like Batman Arkham Asylum, and we were fools for thinking this.
Yeah, you're right.
Because that demo didn't sell us at all.
No.
But the hype did. I'm sorry, the
IP.
The good word afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
But
the reviews.
A demo is not always indicative of the final product. And it seemed like that was really relevant. That's a really relevant idea here based on what intel I have for you.
Before you tell me this info, a word from our sponsors. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have any sponsors. No, I will say, though.
It could be you.
No.
Creator of Walmart.
I shop at Walmart. Anyways, no, talking about that, I also knew this at the time that demos are not always the best, representative of your product. So that was one thing I was kind of telling myself. I was like, well, it's just a demo.
They're still working on it.
This could be, and there was rumors like this could be an older demo, so it's probably a little more polished when it comes out. It was not, but go ahead.
I've heard for E3, creating demos can be pretty...
Yeah, it eats up a good...
resource heavy and not always worth it.
Yeah, good amount of development time.
Just throw a CG trailer of
that too takes a while.
What you want to do, and I really dislike CG trailers nowadays.
Yeah.
There were a few too many of those this past E3 season. But maybe you're not aware that, and I don't really have too much familiarity with these resources, but Wikipedia found them crucial to the integrity of the article. In 2014, it was labeled, Haze was labeled one of the 25 most disappointing games of the PS3 and 360 era. So you are not alone in this.
Dang.
So tell your friends that you should like and subscribe, and or comment depending on where you're listening.
So I chose a good one to start off this mini spin-off series of biggest game disappointments.
That was from Den of Geek. I don't know if I mentioned, and then The Guardian, like a publication I'm not familiar with.
Oh, I am.
Named Haze as one of the 30 worst games of all time.
Dang.
In the history and pantheon of video games, Haze stands among the dead.
Dang, they must not have played Binary Domain.
Don't start. That will never be on this list because that is a great game that deserves more praise and more mention. So I guess, okay, before I give you some history on this release, are you familiar with the developer? Like
Free Radical Design.
But their prior work. Like, were you a Time Splitters fan?
I was not a fan, but I would eat up any bit of information I had for this, and I found out, like, oh, these guys are known for Time Splitters. People love them. So that's another reason I got hyped. Like, oh, okay, so these guys know what they're doing. That's all I knew, though.
Somehow Time Splitters is a series I have heard of in the past, and I have no context for it.
I want to say I just played it at an arcade once or something. They're big arcade games. Okay,
maybe I've had to have run into it at some point.
With the light guns.
Time Crisis. See, that's what goes in my head.
Oh, maybe
wait, are you thinking of Time Crisis?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so maybe okay, never mind.
I'm not very educated here.
But we're getting educated.
Okay, that's right.
That's the point of this.
We're discussing this
cast or YouTube video.
Right.
Okay. So just so you're aware, the developers did go on to be bought by Crytek.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
They worked on
I remember that.
Crisis 2 and 3 a little bit, a port of Crisis 1. They worked on Homefront, The Revolution. But it seems a lot of the big players in that studio left by the time Homefront was involved.
Okay.
So let me hook you up with some intel. You previously mentioned that this was going to be the Halo killer.
Right.
Who started that phrase?
I don't remember. This was a very long time ago.
Well, it certainly wasn't the developers because internally they hated that. because they wanted nothing to. They were like, Halo's on its third like iteration. Like we don't want to. We're not ready to compete.
Yeah,
with
this
Halo.
is our first. Give us a second.
We are not well equipped to say we are Halo killers. Yet that's what the fan base was citing.
A lot of news publications were calling it that as well.
And they definitely did not like that moniker placed on them. So it really messed with like everyone's expectations. Like you said you heard of it as the Halo killer. Did you buy into that at all?
That's what I mentioned earlier.
So your expectations were a lot higher, and I wonder how reviews and everything would have gone if this Halo killer idea wasn't on there.
Yeah, I'm sure that was to his detriment for sure.
Subconsciously, it's got to play an effect.
Yes.
And it also put a weird pressure on the developers as well. They're like, wait, what do they want from us now? We were not making this.
Yeah.
So because of all the hype, Ubisoft, is it Ubi or Ubi? Ubi or Ubi?
It doesn't matter. Okay.
First of all, Ubisoft forever, only recently has started saying, yeah, our games do occasionally go in political,
right.
Political pathways. We'll say. Well, when I saw the footage of this game, I'm like, this seems a little like you're in a South African country. Like, just there was some aspects to the dialogue and everything that made me think like there are some political aspects here. So it just was interesting that even in like 2006, they were still saying it took them over 15 years to finally be like, yeah, we might be political
every now and then,
not intentionally.
We sprinkle it,
which is frustrating. Like just if you're gonna just own it,
division, not political.
By the way, the villain, his name is, oh god, I forget. I don't know if you recall the villain's name, but he like skins people alive or something.
No,
they call him Skinner or something like that.
Oh my god!
But because of the hype, Ubisoft was like, "Whoa, you guys are making a good game, right?" So there was more pressure from the publisher, and then with every delay, their expectations got bigger. Like, oh, you're getting more time, so this game's going to be even better. So instead of thinking, oh, you need more time so you can fix what's currently broken, they kind of went in with the mindset that, hey, you're getting more time, you can make it even better. Which, I feel like if you don't think about it, that makes sense. Oh, more time, it's better.
Yeah, but no, but that's time to fix it.
Yeah, that's not how that works. So you got to think about it for another few seconds, and you're like, oh wait, there's a problem with that thought process.
Right.
So they began to increase the expectation. So not only were the fans of Haze excited or hyped, now the publisher is. Your bosses are if you're a developer here. So that's double.
A lot of pressure.
That's maybe even more than double the pressure.
And then, oh, never mind. I don't want to spoil it. And then Corn.
I do have Corn written down.
All right, I'll let you get to that later.
So they were like, no, we're not trying to add. We're trying to make cuts. The developers, they were like, we want to make cuts. We want to fix what we've got. We don't want to expand even larger. And that led to Ubisoft saying, you guys don't know what you're doing. One of the developers, I don't have his name, but he pretty much said, they saw us as incompetent. I'm like 90% sure that's an actual quote.
Okay.
They saw us as incompetent. So they sent in a bunch of producers to fix Haze. And apparently, according to the developers, they were inexperienced producers. So it was people who don't have the context for what you're working on and have these lofty expectations telling you what you should be doing.
Right, and they're coming in way towards the end of this development process. So
And it was at the point where, and this is off mic, I told you, this is where they definitely took... I was trying to be careful the way I phrased it, but no, they went too far. We'll see if you agree. Ubisoft went too far.
Okay.
Because these people they put in control of Haze started making critical decisions about the game and what it should look like, what it should like, what systems should be in place. Because apparently there was a system that you could like play dead.
Okay. I
wasn't
aware.
It's like that's a cool idea, but what do you do with that? So there were like systems in the game that, while novel, served no great purpose.
Yeah.
And which is proof of the idea of they wanted to add more, don't cut, and like make just improve the quality.
That's a producer come in and be like, yo, you know what no one else is doing? Playing dead. Add it.
So they made decisions. Then they started withholding pay if the developers ever disagreed with them.
Oh, that's messed up.
And then they started asking the developers to fire people.
Huh.
So there was this game definitely had a lot of behind the scenes stress going on.
It had a tumultuous development process.
Like the idea that if you don't agree with us, we're going to withhold your paycheck.
Yeah.
You're pretty much holding them hostage.
Right.
Like
do what we want or you don't get paid.
Yeah. I can imagine why that might affect development, especially morale. So at this point, you're kind of pushing your employees to work through fear rather than like genuine care for a product.
Right.
Which for the beauty of Haze, you should really go in with all the love possible. Then Korn became ambassadors, which the musical band Korn, they even made a song called Haze.
Right.
Can we put that as the? No, we won't.
No, we won't. I remember the trailer that featured the song and the gameplay, and I was like, this doesn't help. I muted it. Not my genre of music.
Mm-hmm. Well, that seemed to do very little for sales because upon its first year of release, Haze sold around 500,000 copies, which in theory doesn't sound that bad.
At the time, probably better.
But it was not better because it was far below Killzone and Resistance.
Okay.
So like for you to get your Halo killer and it's not even doing better than Resistance.
Well, Resistance was a much better game. But the thing is with Resistance, it was a launch game.
Where's Resistance now?
It had
Killzone
more iterations than Haze did.
Yeah, and so imagine how poorly Haze did.
No, I know. I get what you're saying.
Also, apparently co-op was bugged at the start, as I said previously.
Right.
So it took a while to patch that. There's some doubt as to if it ever even got patched. So, send in a comment if you know the true answer to that.
Okay.
But throughout my research and some others, there was no definitive proof that they ever fixed the co-op. I'm sure they did, but I can definitely see with this kind of situation going down that they
might have just given up. All right, there you go.
We need to move on to something else.
There's your producers for you.
So you know what? What's it called? Free Radical Design?
Mm-hmm.
The developers?
Yeah.
They started working on their next project. They're like, all right, we're done with Haze. We're going to move on to our next project. Do you know what their next project was?
Smoke.
From Mortal Kombat?
No, it's just Haze.
Oh. Star Wars Battlefield 3.
Battlefront.
Sorry, that's a typo. No, I wrote that wrong.
Okay.
Star Wars Battlefront 3.
Which was canceled.
And that pretty much spelled like the theoretical end of that studio. So it's a really sad story.
Yeah.
They went from like working with like Nintendo and Rare, they helped make GoldenEye, to making like Time Splitters, which is apparently beloved.
Right.
To being like, all right, we're going to make something new. And then Ubisoft's withholding your paychecks. Then you get Star Wars, and then you get it ripped away from you because LucasArts closed down. So it's a really like I know it's disappointing for you, but like as someone with no context going in, like I feel like so much sadness going through this tale.
Right. No,
I'm tearing up. I can't.
You're forcing it.
I am forcing it.
Yeah. But look, I get it. But keep in mind that at the time, I was still very, very new to the gaming industry. Again, that was just starting to look up stuff and kind of knowing people's names and even just development studios in general.
Who's Kojima?
So I didn't know any about this. It just, to me, the game came out and it was bad and I was sad.
I think it's just important for you to know because your hype was justified.
No, I know it was.
So I think you should be. I think when you look at young Felipe, you shouldn't look at a dumb kid. You should be like, man, you fell for some tricks.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. Well, not really.
Did you?
No, because I got more games in this series series that we're making. But anyways, so yes, like you mentioned, of course, I did not know any of that. The game came out, it didn't review well, and the demo was all I needed to confirm I was not interested anymore, and I did not buy this game at the time. But then, much later, I had the PS3 for a very long time. Eventually got a PS4, moved on to there, right? And one day I was perusing through GameStop. And I look at one of their bins, like $10 and under or something like that, right? And what do I see on the top? Naughty Bear. But underneath it, Haze. And I bought it. So I actually own Haze now. But let me tell you, I have not played it.
Okay, well, that's some.
I just bought it because I'm like, I'm gonna play this eventually. But I was already moved on to PS4 and everything, and I bought it out of like a memory. Like, I remember this Felipe.
Screw you! No, you're making content out of Haze now. You need to put up something of you playing Haze on the internet.
Do you think so? You're saying I should make like a Let's Play of Haze?
No one will watch that. I think we should an accompanying piece later on at some point before 2022. I think you should do a play discussion. I made that playlist. I don't know if we want to keep that name, but there should be a play discussion of you properly living through young Felipe.
So I get to finally play this game.
Yeah.
But not do a Let's Play. So just do a podcast after?
No, we'll put up some audio.
Oh, like what you do with Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Haze deserves that.
I mean, I own it. I finally had the PS3 hooked up again, so I do have access to it.
Can we call it farewell to Haze? We're going to say goodbye to Haze.
I don't know if I'm ready for it to say goodbye, man.
This was your biggest disappointment. We should say goodbye to it. Because the games I have in my series, like in my head, like I'm the one I'm thinking of right now, like I've played it. So I don't know if we want to do the same for every one of them, but this one I think deserves.
As the first starter to this series, I don't know. A very famous man named Post Malone once said, "I'm no good at goodbyes, so I'll see what I can do."
Yet he says goodbye about 94 times in that song.
That's
so
true.
I think he was trying to tell you something. Despite how poor you may be at it, goodbyes are deserved.
He was trying to tell me.
That's a different song.
I know.
But
okay, yeah, I'll consider playing that, and we'll do that one day. How about that?
I would like that.
Okay.
I would like to see that.
Gotta work on my capture
on
card skills, but okay. I will do something.
It's not as easy on the other cons.
Yeah, I got a really terrible.
You go on PlayStation Now, and
I'll figure something out.
All
right. Well, that is my biggest game disappointment. We will continue this series in the future, and hopefully this does well. If you have played Haze and have different opinions, sound off in the comments below.
Maybe even subscribe.
And if you like what we had to say, or didn't, still hit the like button.
Yeah. And you can find us, if you're listening on YouTube, you can find us on iTunes and Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Podbean.
If you're on
SoundCloud, apparently. We're on SoundCloud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we are?
Yeah, I gotta show you that.
Okay.
It's kind of neat.
we'll talk
anyways. Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. At ed_discussions. But if you're listening to the audio version, obviously, check us out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube, type in Educated Discussions.
We'll have some accompanying video to add to this. Not much, because, well, we don't have to get into that, but that's it. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. Keep it educated.
Keep it discussions.
Just gotta do it.
Have you ever played Final Fantasy VIII?
I have not played Final Fantasy.
Great, because the twist in it is so stupid. It's one of the stupidest twists of all time. In anything, not even gaming related, story related.
Turns out, he was dead the whole time.
No.
Okay.
Stupider.
You get old at the beach.
It does take place on a beach.
Okay.